Hey guys, and welcome to my 1 month update on my hair loss journey using Finasteride, Minoxidil and derma rolling. So firstly, as you can see, I've grown out my hair quite a bit. I had it shaved for about 2 weeks and then I decided to let it grow. As I've previously mentioned, I've learned how to fade my own hair. So after week 2, I just faded the sides and kept it growing on top to see how much progress I was making with the hair loss. Right now you're looking at an unshaved head. Speaking of that, maybe it's time for me to go and get my own haircut. Alright, there we go. I know the lines aren't sharp, but it feels so nice, especially on the sides. Also, I took a photo right before I started recording today. As you can see on the side, because my hair is a lot thicker, it appears a lot darker, so it's like extra contrast with the crown spot, which means that when I actually fade it, the contrast between the two isn't as bad. So I try to keep it between 1mm and 1.5mm on top and a 0 on the side. So that could be a word of advice for you if you have short hair at the moment, to just keep the sides tidy so the contrast with the shedding hair isn't as bad. Being that this is the first month back on medication, one thing that was really hard was remembering when to take my medication. That being said, I put my Finasteride right next to my vitamins, which I take every night before going to bed, which means I did not forget it. And my Minoxidil, because I put it on twice a day, I actually keep it right next to my toothbrush. So whenever I see my toothbrush, I see my Minoxidil, so they just go hand in hand. First thing in the morning and last thing at night. When it comes to my derma roller, I've actually put it right next to my shaving equipment, which means that once a week I shave the sides of my head, so I still remember to do it. So every Sunday I do my micro needling. Alright, so I figured we would compare, sorry I'm looking at my phone, but we would compare week 0, week 2 and week 4. Because I have documented the entire thing. If we begin looking in 1st of October, I had about the same length as I have on top here, maybe it's slightly shorter. Some hair is terminal on my crown, but there are a lot of small dying hair strands. There's still a lot of hair follicles, which is a good thing. And I've always had quite high peaks. It's like the temples are quite high up, but you can see that there's a lot of area here covered by hair, which is miniaturized. Luckily I have this spot right here, which I always compare, because before I started taking Finasteride in 2019, my hair line on the side was actually like behind this, so it's good that it's come back. You can see right above it, there's a lot of small tiny hairs. And then on the other temple, this one is always tricky. I also have that birthmark that I compare everything to. I know that my hairline goes slightly above that, but then it's so weird as well that I have like small hairs that are terminal, that are just growing here by themselves. So my hairline is a little bit uneven on both sides, but it doesn't matter. It's just good to have for reference. Not very impressive, it's not very bad. I've seen people starting on week 1 having much worse hair. I know that I have pretty good foundation to start from. So if we look here on week 2, this is very hard to tell actually how the progress is going, because I shaved it down really short, so all hair strands at this point are the same length. But to my surprise, I have a lot of hair follicles left. Even better is I see that some hair follicles produce up to like 3 hair strands, and I can see here that I have them, even though they might be a little bit thinner, they're still there, so I'm hoping that it'll all come out. But then if you go away from the crown area, it's quite interesting because you can see the density on the outside of the crown. All these hairs are terminal. In addition, on the side here, we can see it's a bit flaky, but that's no surprise because I've used my derma roller here. I would say that there's not much progress on the temples. If anything, I can just see how much I'm balding above my temples, which I didn't do before. So the hair is a lot thinner on my hairline and a little bit above my temple, but that's fine. So on the other side, you can actually see a lot of miniaturized hairs coming out, which is a good thing. So on this side, I can actually see a little bit of progress. All right, speed forward to today. I can actually show you live if you want. So this is what it looks like right now. You can see here. And you can really see that it's see-through in the entire scalp on the top of the head. Since I've been through this before, I'm not scared off because I know that just means that the medication works. But yeah, you can see in the front here, it's really thick. And then on the sides here on the temple and just behind the thick part here is thinning out a little bit. And then it comes back here. It's kind of like a fish. But then again, That just means the medication is working, so I'm not scared, I'm actually encouraged. I feel like it's really good for being just 1 month in. If you have male pattern baldness, you're probably familiar with the Norwood scale, which is a way to measure the hair loss progress. I would say I'm sitting between a 2 and a 3, probably more towards 3, but strangely enough, it's just my crown area that's really bad. The sides of like the temples have always been quite high. But if you look at the pattern in the Norwood scale, it's really interesting to see how my hair follows that exact same pattern as shown in the Norwood scale. So don't let it scare you off, but just know that it's male pattern baldness, you're doing medication, you're losing hair in the right areas, so that means the medication is working for that area. So if you're in doubt or think you may have male pattern baldness, I would suggest going and checking out the Norwood scale to see if your hair loss progression matches that of the Norwood scale. So, hair loss side effects. There are a few actually. Firstly, check this out. Like I also mentioned in my previous video, that's 1 week of using minoxidil. My pillowcase looks like this. So basically, I don't know how to avoid that. You're just gonna have to live with it. But I would recommend sleeping on the same side every night if you can. I know I can't. But then in that case, the minoxidil will rub off on like the sides of your eyebrows and stuff. But it is what it is. So that's from the minoxidil. But with the finasteride, I've actually not noticed anything. My mood has not changed at all. My libido hasn't changed at all. When I used finasteride in 2019, but also in 2021, I didn't notice any side effects at all, which is a good thing. Everyone reacts differently to medication, so just because I don't have any adverse reactions to it doesn't mean you will. So please do your own research, maybe consult with a doctor before you start using any of these medications. One thing I did notice though, if we check the photo from week 0, you can see that my scalp is inflamed. And this is something interesting because now my scalp is not inflamed. And with inflammation comes itchiness. So by blocking that conversion from testosterone to dihydrotestosterone, DHT, you're actually not allowing your scalp to get those inflammations, which is really nice. So I don't have an itchy scalp. And when I use microneedling, the recovery is really fast. I don't know if that's because of the finasteride, but I know that I do not have an inflamed scalp anymore. So that's actually a good side effect to have. So I will check in back soon again, but I know that all the results that I have at the moment are normal for this procedure. So don't forget, it's finasteride, minoxidil, and derma rolling / microneedling. And if you have those 3 and you give it a try, I'm sure you're not going to be disappointed. Alright, well thank you so much for listening, and I'll check back soon.